This episode of Soldier Knows Best is brought to you by Loot Crate. Now, when someone mentions the word tablet, the first name that comes to mind, I think for most people, is going to be the iPad. And with this new iPad Air, Apple is trying to continue that tradition of making a full-size tablet your #1 choice. And in this review, I'm going to be taking a look at all aspects of this iPad Air, from the design to the hardware to, of course, how it runs iOS 7. And so it's going to jump right into it and take a look at all the things that are going on the outside. Now, when anybody reviews an Apple device, the two things they usually say about it is that it's going to be thinner and lighter. Now, I can't help myself. I have to say the same thing about this iPad Air because that is the case. Apple's able to shave off the weight of the iPad 4th generation and making it to a smaller size and bringing the weight down to 1 pound. And so this especially makes one-handed operation of the iPad Air just a lot better than the previous generation, because that little weight difference is going to make your hand not get as tired over a long period of time. Now, the iPad Air comes in two different colors, comes in space gray and also silver, and also takes most of its new design characteristics from the iPad mini, and it just really basically feels like a big iPad mini in your hand when you're holding it. And that's also more noticeable because the bezel around the 9.7-inch Retina display has been trimmed down, so the display itself hasn't changed. It's still very nice, high quality, but the bezel has been trimmed down to allow you to have a better grip and just a better feel of this iPad Air. Now, if we push the Apple design to the side and take a look at the internal specs, this iPad Air is basically what the iPhone 5s was to the iPhone 5 as far as an upgrade. It features the new dual-core A7 processor alongside the M7 Motion coprocessor, 1 GB of RAM. You have 16, 32, 64, and 128 GB storage configurations that you can choose from. They have Wi-Fi and LTE versions that will work with AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon here in the United States. And there's a lot more carriers around the world that this new iPad Air will work with as well. And then this iPad Air features 802.11n with MIMO, which should be increasing your wireless performance up to 2 times. And I would tell you, from day-to-day use, I didn't notice a huge jump. I did notice applications like Infinity Blade did download slightly faster than what it did on the previous generation, but it's not something really gigantic. And so when I did do my benchmarking test, you guessed it, the iPad Air did double the performance of the iPad 4th generation. But more important to me than benchmark, I still feel that Apple is kind of dropping the ball with the iPad by missing out on adding wireless charging and also adding NFC capabilities. Those two do add some more functionality to the tablet, which by now should just have it by default because that technology is here and it's been out for a little while. So at the end of the day, you will be getting a very fast iPad, the fastest iPad ever released, but I still think Apple should be adding those 2 extra features that I just mentioned to the future iPad whenever that comes out. Now, I was going to talk about the cameras. Now, I know who uses cameras on a tablet. Your cell phone can probably take better pictures and videos, and that's definitely the same here with the iPad Air. But the iPad Air does have probably the best cameras on any tablet right now. The front-facing camera has been updated to a 1.2 megapixel 720p video recording capable camera. It is now the FaceTime HD camera. So if you are a FaceTimer, this is going to be a plus for you. But if you're not, and you just find yourself in a situation that you want to take a picture or video with the rear-facing camera, the 5 megapixel rear-facing camera that can get down to f2.4 is going to be able to produce some really decent shots, whether you're in low light situations or outdoors. Now, audio wise, Apple has added a dual microphone setup to this iPad Air and also improved the speakers. When I first fired up a game, those speakers really were bumping out some music, but unfortunately the speakers are both on one side, and Apple should be separate them and have one on the left, one on the right hand side, so your hand is not going to be covering one of them up while you're gaming in landscape mode. But from a general sound standpoint, the speakers are better. And so the last thing I'm going to talk about hardware-wise is going to be the battery. And actually, the battery inside of the iPad Air has decreased in size, but it hasn't decreased the time that you can get with this thing. You should be able to get around 9 to 10 hours of normal use of just everyday web browsing, playing a couple games here and there, tweeting, or whatever else you're going to do on your tablet. So battery life is still really impressive on the Air. And now let's switch gears and talk about software. This iPad Air comes preloaded with iOS 7, which is going to be bringing a slew of new features from Control Center. You now have AirDrop and improved iCloud, especially with the iCloud keychain. And all of these stock applications, for the most part, have been updated with a new look, at least a new icon, but also too, internally, those applications do function a little bit better and smoother. But I'm not really going to spend that much time talking about these features because I've already covered them in many videos before this one. But I would say that just general performance from the iPad 4th generation to this iPad Air, I don't notice a vast speed improvement at all, even though it is running on better hardware. But with that being said, 6 months from now, this may be a different story when developers really start to make applications that could take advantage of this new 64-bit processor. But if you're looking for a huge speed bump coming from the iPad 4th generation, you're really not going to notice it unless you are playing an application like Infinity Blade that is optimized for the new hardware specs for the iPad Air. But ultimately, iOS 7 runs smooth on the iPad 4th generation and on this iPad Air, and it's really nothing else different to it. And so in conclusion, I haven't said that since I I wrote that down on the paper in English in college. But anyway, in conclusion, this iPad Air continues Apple's dominance in the full-size tablet market. They did all the predictable upgrades when it comes to the hardware and also to the design that you would expect from Apple, but they are missing, again, like I mentioned before, NFC, wireless charging, and other things like that that will really make this tablet stand out that much more. But really, besides that, Apple just made the best full-size tablet better, and it really doesn't have any type of competitor when it comes to a full-size tablet on the market right now. Now, I do have one little beef with Apple, and that's with the pricing structure. It still starts off at $499 for the 16GB Wi-Fi only version, but for an extra 16GB of storage, you will be paying another $100. And I think by now the gig is up, Apple. We know it doesn't cost that much for you to add an extra 16GB of storage. I think Apple, just like they've done with their software, needs to bring the price down, especially with competitors from Google like the Nexus 7 and possibly the next version, the Nexus 10, may start to give it a run for its money. But if you want to get the Wi-Fi plus cellular combination for the iPad Air starting at 16GB, it will be running you $629. And at this point, it just really seems like a lot. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Make sure you do subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. I'm Soldier Knows Best, real name Mark Watson. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All those links to my social networks are down below. Make sure you do thumbs up this video by hitting the like button if you do like it, and also leave your comment down below what you think about the iPad Air. Is it your favorite tablet? What are you using for your tablet nowadays? And thanks for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace. And today's sponsor is Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a subscription box service for geeks and gamers, probably you and me out there, that delivers awesome goodies once a month for about $20. That includes shipping and handling. And a lot of this stuff is nerdy and geeky, but that's why you're getting this service. And previous crates have included items from Marvel, Nintendo, Blizzard, and many more. And so if you have an idea for something that they should put in the future crate, let them know. And you never know, you may be able to influence what other people get. And so if you're interested in Loot Crate, go ahead and try it out right now by going to lootcrate.com/soldier and enter in the checkout code REV3, that's REV3, and you'll get 10% off. Again, that's lootcrate.com/soldier.